If you retire with $2 million, most people assume you've won the game. Financial stress should be behind you. The markets can fluctuate, but you should be fine. And yet, I have seen retirees with portfolios of $2 million or more run into real financial pressure within just a few years of leaving work. It usually isn't because of some dramatic market event. More often, it's a series of small, uncoordinated decisions. Retirement timing, tax thresholds, healthcare costs, withdrawal strategies, lifestyle changes. When these factors are not modeled in together, they compound. And over time, even a strong portfolio can begin to feel tight. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most common structural reasons this happens and how to avoid them. And if you're new here, I'm Nathan, a certified financial planner and behavioral financial advisor. And if conversations like this are helpful, feel free to subscribe and stick around for more discussions on retirement planning. For this video, I want to frame our discussion around two different types of wealth. The first is what I would call fast or single event wealth. This is when money arrives quickly, often from an inheritance, a business sale, concentrated stock positions, or any other type of windfall. The second type is slow wealth, which is built gradually over decades through consistent saving, diversified investing, and responsible financial habits. So let's begin with fast wealth. So an example we're going to talk about that may not immediately feel relatable is the story of professional athletes who earn hundreds of millions of dollars and still end up in financial trouble. From the outside, it seems impossible. How could that much money just disappear? One of the most well-known examples is Allen Iverson. He was electric to watch growing up. His crossover and jump shot made him one of the most exciting players in the league. Iverson did not come from wealth, so when he entered into the NBA, his financial life changed quickly. Over his career, he earned more than $200 million, and his lifestyle reflected that success. There were luxury cars, entourages, jewelry, and significant financial support for friends and family. His wealth was not only substantial, it was highly visible. The challenge with wealth that accumulates rapidly is that financial structure often does not develop at the same pace as that income. When money grows quickly, spending patterns tend to expand just as quickly. Expectations from others increase, generosity becomes more frequent, and lifestyle decisions become larger. Without careful coordination around taxes, diversification, asset protection, and long-term withdrawal planning, even very large sums of money can diminish over time. So Iverson eventually filed for bankruptcy after his NBA retirement. Interestingly enough, what helped stabilize his long-term financial future was a structured deferred agreement with Reebok that included a trust reportedly worth over $30 million set to pay out in the next few years. So in many ways, it was structure, not income, that ultimately provided durability for Allen Iverson. So while you may not be an athlete, many of you watching will probably inherit some type of money from a relative. We are currently in the midst of one of the largest wealth transfers in history. Estimates suggest, as shown in this graph from Merrill Lynch, that roughly $100 trillion is expected to change hands over the next 2 decades. I am already seeing this play out with clients in their 40s and 50s beginning to receive significant inheritances. For many individuals, this represents the first time they have managed substantial wealth. Research from the Williams Group has shown that approximately 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation, and 90% by the third. The issue is rarely a lack of intelligence. It's often lack of coordination, structure, and financial education. Losing wealth does not typically begin with a reckless decision. It often begins with gradual changes. Spending increases modestly, right? Gifts become more frequent, travel becomes more elaborate, and financial support for children or extended family extends. Each individual decision may appear reasonable in isolation. Over time, however, these incremental increases can compound and place strain on a portfolio. I have seen retirees unintentionally increase their spending by 20 to 30% within just a few years of retirement simply because their lifestyle adjusted faster than their actual plan. And again, it wasn't really planned for, it's just something that accidentally happened to them. It is really important to clarify here that enjoying your wealth is not the problem. Taking meaningful trips and helping family members and living comfortably are often the very goals people work decades to achieve. The challenges arise when those choices are made without a substantial framework supporting them. When wealth arrives quickly, habits and systems do not always evolve alongside with it. And that is where the erosion tends to begin. If you do find yourself in this position where you received a substantial amount of money suddenly, it's best to do nothing for the first 6 months. You might feel compelled to upgrade immediately, but the thing to do is just wait. Let the emotions subside. Talk to a professional that can help build frameworks into ensuring you can do the things that you want, but also have the money last. Write down your values first, then ensure that the things that you are doing with that money match what you're thinking. You'll find that some of these purchases that you wanted to make don't necessarily align, and that's okay. That is what that buffer in time is going to help you do. You may also realize that the really nice house you wanted may have significant carrying costs like higher property taxes and electricity bills, and that puts a strain on your monthly cash flow. So giving yourself time to look at the numbers and really figure out what you're trying to accomplish is going to help you in that situation. There's also research from 2016 by the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia that highlights how powerful sudden wealth can be, even for the people who did not receive it. In a study of Canadian lottery winners and their neighbors, researchers found that when someone won a large prize, bankruptcy filings increased among neighboring households. The neighbors did not receive any of the winnings, but the related income shock appeared to influence borrowing behavior and financial outcomes. Simply being exposed to sudden wealth changes how people behave financially. While fast wealth carries obvious risks because it accumulates suddenly and is often concentrated, slow wealth presents a different kind of challenge. It is built over time through discipline, consistency, and responsible financial decisions, which makes it feel stable and durable. That sense of stability can create confidence and sometimes overconfidence. The risk with slow wealth is not that dramatic collapse, which we saw in our previous examples, but gradual erosion that unfolds quietly over time. These are the patterns I have seen repeatedly in conversations with people throughout years of being an advisor. And they often begin with assumptions that feel reasonable on the surface. So let me share some examples with you. The first is the I did everything right couple who spent decades building their wealth carefully, consistently maxing out retirement accounts, diversifying their investments, paying down their debt, and avoiding speculative decisions. By the time they retire with $2+ million, they understandably feel that they have earned the right to enjoy what they've built. And in many ways, they obviously have. The challenge begins when spending gradually increases because retirement feels like a reward phase of life. Travel becomes more frequent, the home may be upgraded, and gifting to families becomes more generous because they can. Annual expenses slowly rise from once felt conservative to a level that is meaningfully higher. Each of these decisions feels justified in light of that discipline and sacrifice that came before it. Over time, however, the cumulative effect of these increases can push the withdrawal rate beyond what the portfolio was originally designed to sustain. There is rarely a single reckless decision here. Instead, it's the lifestyle that evolves faster than the long-term financial structuring supporting it. On top of that, they are one healthcare event away from everything changing because at $2 million for this couple, this family is right on the cusp of being able to self-insure for those health events depending upon what they look like. So this is where long-term care planning can often make or break most of those seniors' years. So the next person is the tax-blind retiree who assumes taxes will decline in retirement. And for many, they do, but not necessarily for everyone, and especially not for higher saving retirees. Instead, required minimum distributions later in life push income higher than expected. Social Security becomes largely taxable. Medicare premiums rise as income crosses IRMA thresholds. When one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse files as single and pays higher effective tax rates on that similar income. These are not dramatic events. They are structural features of the retirement system. But without coordinated planning in the early retirement years, tax efficiencies quietly compound and reduce flexibility later. This is why planning early in retirement is so crucial. The next retiree is the employer equity loyalist who accumulated substantial wealth through decades at a successful company. Much of their net worth remains concentrated in employer stock or a single sector. During strong markets, that concentration feels rewarding and justified. However, when employment income and investment exposure are tied to the same company or industry, risks become amplified. A downturn at the wrong time can meaningfully reduce retirement security. Diversification often feels unnecessary when performance has been strong, but concentration risk tends to reveal itself during volatility. Slow wealth failures are rarely caused by recklessness. They are usually caused by assumptions that discipline in the accumulation phase automatically translates to sustainability in the distribution phase. Without coordination around spending, taxation, diversification, and withdrawal timing, even a carefully built portfolio can begin to feel tighter than expected. Before retirement, there are a few things you should be doing that can have an outsized impact on your long-term success. And we are going to let Alan Iverson remind us what they are.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
And yes, we are talking about practice. Retirement should not begin the day your paycheck stops. It should be something you gradually step into before you officially leave work. That means testing the lifestyle you believe you want. Try the hobbies you have been talking about for years. Take shorter versions of the trips you envision. Experiment with a lighter work schedule if possible. Pay attention to how your days actually feel when you have greater control over your time. Ask yourself honest questions along the way. Do I genuinely enjoy this activity, or do I simply like the idea of it? Does this level of spending align with my long-term plan? Is this pace something I can realistically maintain for decades? When you give retirement a trial run, the transition becomes smoother and far more intentional. Without a testing period, it is easy to build a lifestyle around assumptions rather than experience. Spending can accelerate before the financial plan has been fully validated. And early retirement years are often the most important years to get right. A little preparation during the years leading up to retirement can prevent a great deal of pressure later on. So if you've saved $2 million or more, your biggest risk isn't always the market. It's lack of structure. Most retirees don't go broke because of one catastrophic decision. They go broke because of small compounding mistakes in timing, taxes, withdrawals, healthcare planning, and lifestyle drift. When those pieces aren't coordinated, even a 7-figure portfolio can slowly erode over time. But when retirement is modeled properly, $2 million or more can absolutely provide long-term security. I also recently recorded another video breaking down the current math behind how much you can realistically withdraw from a portfolio today. And I'll link that here at the end of this video so you can watch it next. And if you'd like to talk through your specific situation and build a plan with structure, feel free to book a meeting using the link below.